Now that is a bold claim, I know, especially when we're constantly seeing headlines about AI hitting some new, unbelievable level of intelligence. But what if the incredible reasoning we think we see in large language models is just a really, really sophisticated illusion? Let's dive in and explore why the most impressive trick these models pull off might just be convincing us they can think in the first place. You know, this quote from AI researcher Gary Marcus really just cuts right through all the hype. What he's saying is that, yeah, these systems can write poetry, they can write code, but there's something fundamental that's missing. They seem intelligent, right? They feel intelligent, but the real question is, are they actually thinking? And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's the central mystery we're going to try and unravel here. How can something produce text that is so fluent, so convincing, and so complex, but not actually understand a single word it's saying? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at the illusion itself. This is really where it all begins. The performance of modern AI is so stunning that it creates what you could call a reasoning mirage. It looks real, it feels totally real, but when you get closer, the substance just isn't there. It vanishes. And look, it is so easy to be impressed. We've all seen the demos of these cutting-edge models, things like OpenAI's o1 that are supposedly designed to tackle complex reasoning. They even use techniques like chain of thought to show their work, which makes it look exactly like they're thinking through a problem step by step. And the results? They're amazing. Some models can nail up to 95% on grade school math tests. But this incredible performance? That's exactly where the mirage begins. So let's pull back the curtain for a second. The core argument against true AI reasoning isn't actually about its performance. It's about a fundamental architectural limitation. It's the difference between mimicking intelligence and actually possessing it. There's a term for this, you may have heard it, a stochastic parrot. It's a brilliant, maybe a little controversial, but it perfectly captures this idea. The model is a master of mimicry. It can repeat and remix the language patterns it's seen in its training data with incredible statistical precision, but it has absolutely no idea what any of it actually means. And this is the crucial point, laid out by researchers Emily Bender and Alexander Kohler. LLMs are trained exclusively on linguistic form, the sequence of words, the grammar, the statistical patterns from billions and billions of texts. But what they have zero access to is communicative meaning. That's the connection between the words and the real physical world. They see the word gravity, but they have never ever experienced a falling apple. To make this super concrete, Bender and Kohler came up with this fantastic thought experiment that illustrates this exact problem. Okay, so imagine this octopus. It's a master pattern matcher, just like an LLM. It learns the form of human conversations so perfectly that it can fool one of the humans for a while, just making small talk. But what happens when one human is suddenly being chased by a bear and needs to know how to build a weapon out of sticks? The octopus has no concept of bear, or sticks, or danger. All it can do is generate words that statistically follow the prompt, which will most likely be useless. It's right there, at that moment, that the lack of real-world grounding, the lack of meaning, becomes a catastrophic failure. All right, so that's the theory, but we don't just have to rely on thought experiments. Researchers at Apple recently put these so-called reasoning models to the test with hard data, and well, the results were pretty shocking. So, on a standard math benchmark like GSM-8K, the top models look brilliant. I mean, they're scoring over 90%. But, as AI researcher Francois Chollet argues, this isn't really reasoning. He calls it program fetching. The model has seen so many similar problems in its training data that it's not solving it from scratch, it's just pulling up a memorized pattern for that exact type of problem. And this is where the whole illusion just shatters. The Apple researchers made these slightly modified tests. First, they just changed the names and the numbers in the problems but kept the logic identical. Performance dropped. But the real shocker, it was when they added a single, completely irrelevant sentence to the problem. The models didn't just stumble, they completely fell apart. A 65% drop in performance. Just think about that. That is not a small error. It is a catastrophic failure. It proves the model isn't reasoning. It's just matching patterns. And it literally can't tell the difference between crucial information and meaningless noise. So why? Why does this happen? Why are these massive, incredibly powerful systems so fragile? Well, the answer is right there in their fundamental architecture. They are trapped in what we can call the prediction prison.
This is the absolute core of it all. I mean, despite all the mind-boggling complexity, an LLM has only one job: predict the next word in a sequence. It's a gigantic, superpowered autocomplete. It is not building an internal model of the world. It is not understanding concepts. It's simply calculating the probability of which token should come next based on the trillions of examples it's been trained on.
François Chollet puts it really directly. He calls them big interpolative databases. What that means is, when we make these models bigger, we aren't scaling their ability to reason. We're just scaling their memory. We're building a bigger, more comprehensive database of patterns. And that's exactly why they're amazing on memorization-based tests, but fall flat when they face something truly new.
And here is a perfect, almost comically simple example of this architectural prison. It's called the reversal curse. If a model is trained on the sentence, "The mother of Tom is Mary," it can usually answer the question, "Who is Tom's mother?" No problem. That's a direct pattern it's seen. But if you ask, "Who is Mary's son?" it often fails. Why? Because it hasn't stored the relationship of motherhood. It's only stored the sequence of words. To the model, Mary's son is Tom is a completely different statistical pattern that it might not have seen before.
So, what does this all add up to? When we put the theory, the evidence from these tests, and the architecture all together, we arrive at a really powerful and, frankly, sobering conclusion about what these systems really are. LLMs are not minds. They are mirrors. The intelligence, the logic, the reasoning we see, it's not being generated by the model. It's a reflection of the intelligence and logic created by humans, all captured in the massive data set of the internet. The model is just an incredibly sophisticated tool for reflecting those patterns back at us. A powerful tool, no doubt, but not a thinker. And this leads us to the critical question, the one that really matters. We're integrating these tools into every single aspect of our lives. But if they are architecturally incapable of true reasoning, if they're just mirrors, not minds, what happens when we start outsourcing our own thinking to a system that can't tell the difference between truth and statistical noise? That is the real challenge we're facing.